Thanks for joining us here on KRON On at noon. I'm Noelle Bello. Happening right now, San Francisco Mayor London Breed is announcing new plans to increase safety in the city. She's listing a series of initiatives to tackle crimes, including an emergency response plan for the Tenderloin district. Let's listen in.
Groups working together to offer wraparound services in connection to a new temporary linkage site where people can start treatment, meeting people where they are, being the compassionate city that we are, but not tolerating the mess that we've had to tolerate. The final phase of this intervention focuses on keeping the streets safe and accessible for everyone who calls a Tenderloin home. This includes securing long-term funding for ambassador programs, supporting community-led beautification and open space projects, and making environmental changes that promote safety and neighborhood support. This also includes long-term partnerships with community organizations and residents to maintain the improvements made during the crisis operations phase. The key will be to never let the Tenderloin go back to what we are seeing today. To not go backwards, to move forward, to feel and see a difference. But public safety isn't just about the Tenderloin. We know that there are issues all over this city. Our second initiative is targeting the illegal vending on our streets that is incentivizing the break-ins and robberies like the ones we have seen at stores and small businesses throughout the city. And you know what's the sad reality? Before I was even an elected official, when the cell phone thefts were at an all-time high, everybody knew that whatever they stole for cell phones, laptops, anything you steal in the city, you take it down to the Tenderloin, and there's someone waiting to give you cash for those items. I want to be clear that these are not victimless crimes, and they are not just property crimes. We're seeing an increase in the use of high-speed getaway cars that in some cases are stolen vehicles, physical violence, and the use of weapons. Today, I'm introducing legislation to disincentivize theft by making the resale of stolen goods more difficult. For the resale of goods on the streets, it will create an exclusion zone for all street vending activity in existing locations that are highly problematic, such as UN Plaza. It will mandate highly visible posting of approved vendor permits to make it simple and easy for inspectors at any time, and request proof of purchase immediately from anyone attempting to sell these goods. And if they can't produce it, then we will take action. It will allow the Department of Public Works to associate with law enforcement if there is a need to move an individual who's not compliant, and the ability to confiscate goods. These are basic but important actions, and I want to thank Supervisor Safai for co-sponsoring this important legislation. We also know that we need to give our officers more tools to effectively do their jobs. In 2019, the Board of Supervisors passed a law that limited law enforcement's ability to use camera feeds during emergency situations. There are exceptions where they can, but for a lot of the issues like what happened in Union Square, they could not. Where there were multiple robbery crews hitting multiple stores, they couldn't even access those cameras, which is ridiculous. Think about that. During an incident of severe looting, our officers are not able to use a tool that we have that other jurisdictions all over this country can use. This creates barriers for law enforcement's ability to respond quickly when responding to critical incidents and significant public safety issues. We need amendments to clarify that officers are allowed to access these cameras when needed to address critical public safety issues. There is a balance to be had, I know. But right now, if our officers cannot use cameras during a mass looting event, then that policy is out of balance. We are actively working on those amendments with plans to introduce it in January, and my hope is that the board will support changes. Lastly, we're increasingly asking our police department to do more. They're working more overtime to address these challenges, including responding to the rash number of retail thefts and confiscating more than 23 kilos of fentanyl in the last year alone, 4 times the amount in previous years. They've been expanding a number of deployments through our tourism deployment plan, so when people come here and spend money and support our economy, they feel safe and they want to return. And we changed the narrative about what people say about San Francisco. And focusing on auto burglaries to make significant arrests on prolific crews who time and time again are committing these acts and impacting the quality of life for San Franciscans. They've done all of this while being part of a police reform movement that has led to dramatic decreases in the use of force incidents and a rapidly diversifying police force that better reflects the communities they serve. Our officers are committed to doing that work, and they're committed to keeping us safe. But everything they've been doing over the recent months and everything we're going to ask of them in the coming months before we pass a new budget is going to require more overtime funding, and it's going to require more police officers. My budget office is currently working with the San Francisco Police Department and the chief to understand what the needs will be to get us through 2022. And I will introduce.
We've been listening to Mayor London Breed announcing a series of new safety initiatives, specifically some in the Tenderloin district, where she says an emergency response is needed for the crime and drug use that goes on in that area. KRON On's Rob Nesbitt is listening in on her announcement today. He's going to have a complete breakdown and report of the new plan coming up on KRON 4 News at 3. Headed to the East Bay now, where a homicide investigation is ongoing after a death was reported at the Tesla factory in Fremont. We're expecting to receive new details from police this afternoon.